how Derek Van Dam and his team of merry weathermen managed to bring up little shining suns and perfectly formed cold fronts at the touch of a well-manicured finger. It's something that occupies our minds every time we watch their forecasts on eNCA, so we decided to spend a day with the team and check out the best toys in the business.
We're at the eNCA studios in Cape Town, the home of the ever-popular weather team, those intrepid scientists who pursue cold fronts, predict heat waves, and chase down strange atmospheric phenomena.
We all know them as the perfectly polished presenters with never a hair or lash out of place. But what you might not have realized is that every graphic and every prediction they make is cooked up right here. The weather department has all the cool toys with a prediction and depiction system that's unique on the African continent.
eNCA Weather is built up of a team of meteorologists and trained climatologists. So we have degrees and backgrounds in the atmospheric sciences, and so that's actually a prerequisite to be part of this particular team. And I come with a meteorology and a broadcasting background, so I'm training these guys in the team basically on how to present on television. So one thing that we worked very hard on in the eNCA Weather Department is creating kind of South Africa's first truly integrated online weather platform. So this thing is highly interactive. I mean, you can get high resolution model weather imagery. This is for the real hardcore weather users who really want to know the difference between the weather in Milnerton and the weather in the City Bowl of Cape Town. And not only can you get any weather forecast for any city in the world produced by our team of meteorologists, but you get this interactive side to it as well. So you can zoom to any parts of the world, street level, see the change in the weather patterns, see the change in the temperatures, the rain, the wind, the cloud patterns, etc. And on top of that, we've got scientific blogs that are being constantly updated. So we're talking about anything that's science related, whether it's the current meteor shower taking place or whether it's the current storm about to impact South Africa. We highlight it all in that blog as well.
All this tech requires some heavy-duty skill to fly. It's not easy turning hard science into aesthetically pleasing maps and graphics.
Along with the specialized programs and hardware, the weather team is also looking to integrate real-time feeds from webcams and focus on their online presence.
Our main graphics package is with a company called Weather Central, who are based in the United States of America. They have a complete suite of graphics that we use, and we have different programs that we integrate, which eventually gives our outputs of what people see on air at home. Then we've also got an agreement with Google Earth Pro, well, it's a license, and it allows us to zoom into certain areas on the Earth. So if, for instance, if there's the Rugby World Cup final or an important game happening at Newlands, we can actually zoom right into the stadium and give a specific forecast for a specific time of the day. Another interesting aspect or application that we have is the ability to show a webcam stream on air. So it's a URL frame grabber that takes an image from a webcam every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever we actually set the period to be, and we can do like a time lapse like you can see on the screen behind. So it not only gives us a great idea about what's actually happening in a city, but it also gives the viewer at home an idea of how the weather has changed throughout the day. In a traditional weather bulletin, you have a set of predetermined slides where you start at the beginning and go through one by one through to the end, and you can't really deviate from that order. We have the ability to switch between different slides, and we don't have to stick to that order. So our shows are really determined by the meteorologist who is presenting at the time. For instance, we have the ability to move around from one place to another. We can draw something like a cold front and indicate a weather system on a map, and that's highlighted by a touchscreen facility that we have on our studio as well, which you'll see. We can also highlight like areas of rainfall and put different weather icons onto that. Then from there, we can zoom into anywhere in the world just by using our mouse to actually go across, and we don't have to render out any of those graphics. We literally just go from one side of the Earth through to the other, and we can look at completely different aspects.
While the viewers can get a glimpse of the week's weather prediction through eNCA's eye-catching forecast map system, for the forecast to go from studio to your screens back home requires the knowledge of a seasoned weatherman. Let's see if just for a day I have what it takes to predict what weather is in store for us.
So now we're in the studio, there's all sorts of screens and little remote controls, all these gadgets. How exactly does it work in here?
All right, Tafuma, you're in my house now. All right, so it's time for Broadcast Meteorology 101 crash course. So let's start with the basics, right? You've got two side monitors. This is how you know what you're actually pointing to when you're presenting on the screen. And you've got an auto cue. It's probably a little bit different than what you've seen in the past or on this show. You've got words on the screen typically, but with a weather presenter at eNCA Weather, we have our reflection, and that's how we know where we're pointing on the screen. So what we have here is a completely interactive screen. It's a first for the African continent, so it's a big deal. We can go anywhere across the world. We can go out. We can advance to different slides. We can go backwards. These are just some of the various weather slides that we would discuss on a typical weather bulletin. And yeah, basically you just need to explain what this high does and what that cold front does, but naturally, because you've had this training in high school and college, you know exactly what to do. So I'm gonna leave this with you, and don't forget to use the touch screen. All you need to know is that green button advances to the next space, okay? So, Tafuma, the studio is yours.
You mean like right now? Good evening. With your eNCA weather report, I'm Tafuma Van Dam. Moving closer up into Verena again. And we will then see a fair bit of rainfall here. And then let's try that again. A lot of cloud cover in the southern hemisphere as opposed to the northern hemisphere. High pressure systems in the southern hemisphere will lead to a fair bit of these green clouds here at the bottom, where we'll experience rain and wind. A little further north, rain and wind, and further north still, more rain and wind. I think we can definitely say Dirk Van Dam's job is safe. With the advent of mobile forecasts and updates, you'll always be able to take the weather with you, which means there's no excuse to get caught without an umbrella.